Harji, we have a very extensive syllabus. Every year, teachers get extensive syllabus, and then from year to year, it seems like we're going from topic to topic or whichever they are. And I remember asking about this in the past, but can you go through the relevance of the path our kids take from kindergarten to 12th grade? And is there like a thought process as to the topics that they go from one year to the other, why they do certain topics in certain age groups? Can you walk us through the syllabus a little bit?
If I give you a long answer, will you stay awake the whole time?
I'll do my best. No, I'm kidding. Yeah,
All
of
right,
course.
do your best, do your best. So, starting off in kindergarten, the kids are 5 and 6 years old in kindergarten. That's when they're learning how to read at that age. So, the topic is Vedantic alphabets, where, with what they're learning in school, A for apple, B for ball, sentence formation, these letters making words, they understand even in this temple setting that they come to, they learn the same letters here different kinds of words that help them in a different way. A for aspiration, B for brotherhood, C for cleanliness, D for daddy. Some words that are part of their everyday world, mother, father, things like that. And then deeper ones too. G for God, P for prayer, J for japa. This is their initiation into what Hindu thought is. They are exposed to what being a Hindu is for the first time, probably here, on an intellectual level. And yes, intellectual level, because they're making these kinds of connections. Then, first grade, second grade, third grade. This is the stage where our students are finally understanding that they love a good story. And so at that age of 6 to 7, 7 to 8, we go through Ramayana in first grade, Bala Bhagavatam in second grade, all the different avatars of Bhagavan Mahavishnu. You look at Bhagavan Sri Ramchandraji's story, how inspiring it is, how Bhagavan Ramji is the perfect child, perfect father, perfect husband, perfect king. That kind of perfection is something to emulate. Getting it at the age of 6 is a beautiful thing. Now the kid gets to third grade, third graders about 8 or 9 years old. At this point, they're capable of some kind of abstract thought, where it's not just given to them spoon fed like a story, they're able to make deeper connections. So the topic is what? Bhagavan Dattatraya's 24 Gurus, where Bhagavan Dattatreya ruminates on the nature of water, how it flows so freely, or air, how air carries a scent, but it lets go of it after a while. Like that, let me let go of my baggage and all the burdens that I carry. Now, recognizing these different qualities in everyday things that they see, that requires a sense of abstract thinking. And you'd be surprised. By the age of 8 or 9, our kids are ready for that. That's why they get that topic. Then, fourth grade, the topic is symbolism in Hinduism, where I go to the temple, my parents tell me to close my eyes, fold my hands, and ask for good grades. And I look at that form of divine, where I have a normal head. This is an elephant head with a giant belly, with 4 arms, no less, and I'm told to worship. Or I'm brown skinned right here, and then the Bhagavan I pray to is this blue colored skin. What is all of this? How does this even make sense? And I'll tell you an experience. When I was a kid, I had one of my friends who was not Indian come over to play. This was around this third, fourth grade time. He saw an image, of painting that I had in my room of Hanumanji and Ramji hugging each other. And he made fun of it. He said, "What is this? You pray to someone with a monkey face? This is so dumb," is what he said. I didn't know what to say to him. I felt ashamed as well. That moment, I felt like, man, why am I Hindu? Why am I in this kind of a family? That's really how I felt. Fourth grade is that perfect time for symbolism in Hinduism, where they understand everything has a symbolic meaning. This is something to be proud of. There are deeper meanings. Also, the conditioning is when they see these forms of Bhagavan, then they understand instantly that, okay, this modak represents this. Bhagavan Ganeshji's big ears represent this. The small eyes represent this. And they can make those connections and really imbibe those qualities as well. Fifth grade. This is where values matter so much. What are the values to follow? Because at this point is when they understand not everyone is a nice person. They understand that there's fighting, discord, they see people argue, all of this. Fifth grade with that Dharma chariot, they learn all of these different values. Sauraja, Dhiraja, all patience, having that bravery, so many different values they come across. Then sixth grade comes, where after learning all of these virtues and values, then the question arises, We learn all of these great ways to live, but if I have to point to someone that actually imbibes these values, there are very few people out there. Maybe not in my immediate orbit and family. I can't point to anyone that actually lives by these values. Sixth grade topic is Saints of India, where those saints of the remote past and the immediate past, how they've actually lived these values, where these different Santa Mahatmas can come from all over Bharatavarsha. They can be men or women. They can be from different social stratas, but that common thread in all of them is that Hindu ethos. Kids have to recognize that. Then, after learning about these saints, now they are ready for the greatest story ever told at the age of 12 and 13, where there is discord, there is fighting, there is lust, there is greed, there is backstabbing, there are story within a story, within a story, within a story, within a story. Mahabharata is where they go. And that is the best time to teach that. And they can really appreciate all of these messages, really seeing it come to life. Now, eighth grade, ages 13 and 14. This is where, for the first time in their study at CMDFW, they study the works of Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananji through We Must and Know What You Have. So, when you were a 14-year-old, what were your biggest pressures that you faced
Drugs and alcohol.
from friends and stuff in school?
Yeah, yeah, peer pressure, essentially,
It's
right?
there peer pressure, family pressure.
Yeah.
So, the book we go through is Know What You Have, where the chapters are titled Family Pressure, Peer Pressure, Academic Pressure, Societal Pressure. This is what they talk about. The pressure to date, all of this is what they talk about in when they're 14 in eighth grade. There's also We Must, which is by far my favorite book, a collection of essays by Pujya Gurudev on self-development, and it is incredible how deep he goes with the simplest of words on how do we find inspiration to live for a higher ideal. That's the main crux of the book, and the way he dispatches that different layers to that whole model is incredible. He's writing straight from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, but at a level that even a middle schooler can understand. Then we get to ninth grade, the foray into high school. Around this time, when the kids are 14 and 15, is when they start objecting to the religion. You would be surprised. I'm telling you, once the kids get to the high school level, more than 50% of our classes are atheists. Would you believe me?
I mean, I
Just
could
based on
see
what I'm
that.
seeing.
Yeah,
Based
no,
on what I'm seeing, I'd
for
say
sure.
over 50% hardcore atheists. That means they're thinking. That's all that means. So objections come up about the caste system, or what we call the caste system, ashrama system, vegetarianism, about why do we celebrate these kind of festivals. All of that is answered in ninth grade. Hindu culture is the topic. It's a beautiful textbook by Pujya Guruji, and it goes through the basic fundamentals of what is the structure of scriptures, why do we celebrate the way we do. They go through all of that in ninth grade. So after studying that, 10th grade is the first time they do a deep dive into an actual grantha, a text for the first time, scriptural text, Srimad Bhagavad Gita in 10th grade. Where slogging through shloka after shloka, chapter after chapter would be too cumbersome. So Puja Guruji has a beautiful book, um, Vision of Gita, where it goes through several topics: dharma, values, the realized person, all of these topics. And for teachers, we encourage them to go through Pujya Gurudev's Holy Gita, his beautiful commentary, to really get a deeper context of how to teach. Then 11th and 12th grade, this is where we give them the fundamentals of Vedanta, the Vedantic thinking, where once they get to college, they're on their own at that point. Without having this fundamental base of what is my religion saying, it's near impossible to be a practicing Hindu. So in self-unfoldment, we start at the very beginning with the question of what is happiness? And the happiness quotient that Puja Gurudev gives is just incredible, where it's happiness equals the number of desires fulfilled divided by total number of desires. So then our question is, how do we maximize that number? And we'd say, fulfill all your desires. But it turns out, minimize the denominator, total number of desires, and that number magically increases. That's the very beginning of the book. And from there, we go through energy, karma, maya, vasanas, gunas, all of these different topics until they get a amazing base that they can go through. Now, this book we take for 2 years just so we can go in depth into it. So our syllabus is unique, Shubho, here in Dallas. I know of no other center that follows this specific syllabus. When Pujaswami Sarveshananji came to Dallas in the early 2000s, he implemented the syllabus right away. And it stood the test of time. I've gone through it as a Bala Vihar kid, and at each stage, you notice what the kid needs. This syllabus provides exactly what that kid needs as they go through. Well, really a beautiful structure.